What's up?
Great evening, everyone.
Hey,
My name
Cole.
is Nikia O'Shea. Thank you so much for taking time out of your evening to have a conversation with us. This is the edition of the Coach's Corner, and I'm so grateful that you all are here. And I want to share something with you. I try to share things with you that I actually encounter myself. So this week has been a trying week in my corporate life. When I say trying, I mean trying. Okay. So I want to share this with you. When you're nervous about stepping out of your comfort zone, just remember it feels scary because it's new, not because you can't handle it. So I'll say that again. It feels scary because it's new, not because you can't handle it. So, I want to have a conversation with you tonight. If you don't have any background noise, would you please take yourself off mute? If you do have background noise, then do me and the other admins a favor and remain on mute. The young man that's going to bring the information to us tonight, he is a true leader. And when I say leader, a leader is someone that leads, absolutely, but a leader can also follow. A leader can take direction, a leader can take correction. And that's the young man that is going to bring us information. He embodies those things. He is a documented seven-figure income earner in this industry. He has over 25 years experience of showing people how to have a vehicle of financial freedom and time freedom. He loves to have fun, but he also loves to show other people another way. And so, without further ado, I'm going to present to some, but introduce to others, the man that was born in the Bronx, the man that has a biology degree from Hampton University, but the man that has the plan of how to get to the money. None other than Mr. Coach Sonic Jones. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me, ma'am?
I can hear you, sir, loud and clear.
Awesome. Well, let's get this thing started. First of all, thank you so much for that great introduction, Miss Nikia Ray, diamond extraordinaire in our Green Organics family. And thank you for everybody joining us live. If you are not here live and watching the replay, shame on you. You should have been here because we're going to have some fun. And it's just not the same when you're watching the replay. I'm just going to let you know. And you're gonna miss the good stuff that we do after this call to stop recording. But that being said, thank you for everybody joining us tonight. Hope everybody's having a great Wednesday, ladies and gentlemen. And tonight, we're going to approach the subject as I title it, "How to Manipulate and Control the Minds of Others for Fun and Profit." Now, that title in itself sounds a little weird. Wait a minute, we're gonna be controlling and manipulate people. Some of y'all are a little disgusted. Some of y'all are a little excited. But with that being said, we're gonna learn some skill sets. I actually did this training live back in where were we? Colorado. We were in Colorado. I did this training. And a few months ago, she's been waiting for months. Miss Gina Wilson said, "Coach Sonic, I need you to go over such and such." And so I promised her that I would do that. I know there was a lot of people. We have quite a few new people here, and some people that weren't even with us in the boot camp out in Colorado. So this is also for y'all. I hope that you get some information. As I learned this information a few years ago from a mentor of mine. And so it's out there in the internet world, but we kind of put a few spins on some things and everything else, and just want to make the training as interesting as fun as possible. Now, I will say this: I will have to break this up. It's going to be a multi-part type of training. So probably do it in two parts. We'll do part one tonight, and we'll come back later and do part two. And part two is, to me, just so much more better. So stay tuned and make sure that you do not miss part one. All right. With that being said, let's go ahead and let's talk about prospects and good and bad prospects. Now, as Nikia was so just generous to say, we're going to need some interaction tonight. So again, if you do not have background noise, talk back to me, please. Now, if you got some kids running around, You got your TV on, and don't unmute because we don't want to hear that in the background. But I do need a little bit of interaction because first thing I want to know how many people here have talked to some really crummy or lazy or unmotivated prospects before. Anybody here?
Yes.
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 I have.
Me.
Yes.
He even told me that they was willing to be trained and wasn't.
Yes.
A lot of us feel
Yes, sir.
like we have some good prospects and some bad prospects. But here's the thing. Whose fault is that?
Mine.
Now, I want you to think about this because it's my firm belief that I think that most prospects are actually neutral. And they don't really become a good prospect or a bad prospect until they meet us, ladies and gentlemen.
Mhm.
Right? And they'll become a good prospect or a bad prospect, but literally based on what we say or what we do. Okay. So that being said, those of you that have been in the industry, have been studying, the industry, doing your great job of research and learning on the outside. Anybody familiar with the name Jim Rohn?
Yes.
Yes.
I am. Yes.
Absolutely, yes, sir.
Yes.
Jim
Yeah.
Rohn asks a question. He says this, and maybe it's sort of a peak interest type question. He says, have you found, when he's talking to a prospect, have you found the opportunity that will take care of you and your family for the rest of your life?
Pop quiz.
That's his peak interest question. Now, when you say that to somebody, what do you think most people will say?
No.
No.
Most people will say no. Now, asking
Yeah.
a question like this, it also kind of mentally changes people from wanting to get their investment money back to someone who is looking to have an opportunity for the rest of their life. Sort of like a short-term versus long-term type prospect. And which one would you prefer in your business?
Long term.
Yeah, we want that long-term individual. Now, he then goes on and asks the next question. He says, how much time do you spend each week looking for that opportunity?
All of it.
Well, most people don't say they spend all of their time
No.
looking for opportunity that takes care of them for the rest of their life.
Mm-mm.
Right.
No.
And we
That's
know
true.
that most people are not doing that. So he then turns around and he says, well, listen, when you decide to start looking, here's my card. Give me a call. Now, I want you to think about the process of this. You ask a prospect, have you found the opportunity that will take care of you and your family for the rest of your life? No, I haven't. Then goes back and says, well, how much time do you actually spend? How much time do you spend each week looking, for, an opportunity like that? I really don't spend, that much time. Well, listen, when you decide to start looking, here's my card. Give me a call. I want you to just think about that. Now he's talking to someone that literally is going to want to take care of, him or himself, himself or herself and their family for the rest of their lives. What if you said this to somebody that was working at the register at a Best Buy when you go in and buying a big screen TV, right? When they decided to call, do you think they would be considered a good prospect or a bad prospect?
I think the question is confusing, Coach.
Okay, let's do some clarification. You went through this scenario. You asked the person, have they found an opportunity that will take care of them for the rest of their life? They say no. You basically follow up saying, when you decide to start looking, here's my card, give me a call. And then they turn around and you get a call a day or two later. Would you think that would be a good prospect or a bad prospect?
Good prospect.
A good prospect.
A good prospect, because they reached back out to you.
They thought about what you said.
And that's exactly it. It was based on what you said to that prospect that made them a good prospect or bad prospect. You guys understand that?
Come on.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
here's the question to you. Is prospecting really hard?
No.
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 No. No, it's not.
It's really not. I mean, it could be a relative question, but the reality is it's not really hard. Not when you know what to say and what to do. All right, guys. So I remember sitting with an old business partner, Ryan, a good friend of mine. From another company. We were at a restaurant. And he looks at the waiter and he asked the waiter this: "Hey, let me ask you this: Are you married to your job or are you open-minded?" The waiter immediately replied, "Very open-minded." Right. Now, I want you to think about a scenario like that. How many people now believe, seriously, it's what we say or what we do that could, be the wrong thing or the right thing sometimes, right? I want you to understand, like literally, you can change your business right now, instantly, by changing what you say and changing what you do.
Right.
Sorry.
By doing that, you can also
Wow.
begin to change your results, ladies and gentlemen. Now, let's learn some skills. I want to teach you some skills that'll start to give you some instant results. How many people believe we may find good people, but it's what we say or what we do that will actually ruin them?
Yes.
Yes.
Because again,
Yes.
most people are neutral. And I want you to know that success in network marketing is actually knowing what to say and what to do that could turn ordinary people into great prospects. So watch this. Imagine I'm single and I'm looking pretty good. I go into a party, hey, look, but I go into a party and I'm looking for a date. And I say this, I see some prospects. I say this. So, how old are you? Oh, I look at the next young lady. I say, well, how much do you weigh?
Whoa.
I look at the next young lady. And I say, are those your real teeth?
Wow.
How many dates do you think I'll get?
None.
Not even
Somebody
when
might
we
hit
look
you.
good?
Might get a slap.
Good. I'm not gonna get no dates, right? I talked to a lot of prospects, didn't I?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I got rejected.
Yeah.
So, could it have been what I said or what I did?
Yes.
You
Yes.
said.
Somebody else go to the same
But you
party.
did collect some information.
Oh, I might have collected a black eye
whole lot of
on the
information.
ladies that I spoke with. But could somebody else go to the same party and get a date?
Yes.
Yes.
So was it the prospects or was it what I said?
It was what you
you.
said.
What you said.
Own it, boss.
Yeah. So we're gonna talk about how to manipulate and control the minds of others for fun and profit tonight, right? And I want you to know that most people think that if I just tell them good things about my company or my service, then people are going to join. But listen, the reality is that's really not the case. It's not, and watch this. It's not always just what you say or even what they hear that makes the difference. It's what they believe. Work with me for a second. As we say, let me cook. Watch this. It's our job to make them believe the new information that we give them so that they can make an intelligent decision based on what is going on in their life currently, if it's going to help them or not, AKA, if it's the right decision to partner with us. So I want you to understand, when I say the title about how to manipulate and control, the minds of people for fun and profit, it's not that we're manipulating the people. Ladies and gentlemen, I really want you to understand it's up to us to manipulate the information. And it's up to them to make their own decision. So we're not manipulating, the people. We're not manipulating the outcome. What we're doing is we're manipulating the information that's going in. Does everybody understand and follow that? All right.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So
Yes,
here's a major news flash, ladies and gentlemen. People actually make up their mind whether they're going to join your business or not join your business within the first 30 seconds of meeting you. The rest of the presentation, you got to say, is just filler. Like they're either looking for reasons to join or they're looking for reasons not to join within the first 30 seconds. How
Mm-hmm.
many people believe that?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes.
100%.
All right. There's
Yes.
some people that are looking, I can see you on the screen like, I don't know. In the first 30 seconds, let's do a couple of case studies real quick. Here's case study number 1. Who here has ever received a telephone call from a salesperson?
Yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
I want
Every
you to think
day.
about this. Ask yourself this: within the first 30 seconds, how many people have made up their mind whether they were going to buy or not? Within the first 30 seconds.
Just hang up.
Me?
Here's the thing.
I made it up with the pause.
Now, it's fair. Is that fair?
No, not really.
Fair? Like, but we do it anyway. Like, you haven't even heard their presentation. In the first
Right.
30 seconds of you getting this phone call, you don't made up your mind, made a very clear decision whether you was going to do business with that person or not. Now, if we do it to somebody calling us, do you think that other people are going to do it to us?
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
100%.
You don't believe me? Let's do case study number 2. Because there's still a little doubt over there. I don't have everybody on board with me. Let's do another case study. Ladies.
I'm muting. I'm
Ladies.
muting.
No, because you coming next, bro. But ladies, have you ever met a man and within the first 30 seconds, you decided where that man was going to fit into your life?
Absolutely.
That's right.
No.
Absolutely.
Dang, y'all are overwhelming. Even the chat is like, no, yes.
Doubt.
Now, men, unmute, work with me. Men, is that fair?
You.
They ain't even heard your presentation, fellas.
I didn't even get the pitch. Come on.
But they don't made up their mind within the first 30 seconds. They didn't get to hear our good presentation. We was working, Tommy. We was, man. I'm
You know that, Coach, here's the thing about that. That first 30 seconds was, what's the music in the background? What do you look like? How are you carrying yourself? We didn't even get to the 30-second pitch.
Listen.
That ain't fair, man. Just saying.
Women have already done that part. We
That's
done
true.
sized you up and everything.
I've done the same too, so I ain't gonna complain.
Say hello, we know.
Now look,
On my PowerPoint presentation.
y'all are all
I kind of
saying
felt like that was relevant to the
No, I don't
situation.
think-
boss.
you had a great PowerPoint ready for you, Doug. You was trying to get that date, but here's the look. We ain't even get a shot.
He would have never got me with that.
All doing it. Within the first 30 seconds, we're all making decisions. Like, would you agree? Like, if we want to join, if a person really gonna fit in our life, we all make those decisions within the first 30 seconds. Now,
Pretty much, yeah.
now you believe me. And see, look, watch this. Once you know that belief is everything, and the first 30 seconds of everything, it'll change how you begin to do your business. Now, here's the question. This is the $1 million question. What is it? What is it within the first 30 seconds that people actually made a decision on?
Program mindset.
Your appearance,
Whether they're gonna
The way you walk,
join or not, like you
your
said, the
face.
first 30 seconds.
No, what are they basing it on, though?
If
Oh,
they
and
like
The
you,
information.
On you.
if they
What
like
you saying?
you,
It on you.
how they feel about when they meet you, when they
If
first
they
say
like
hi to you.
That
Yeah,
that chemistry.
I'm loving
the
this one.
first impression.
Okay. Okay. I heard a lot of good answers, but I'm going to give you the right answer. They're basing it on rapport.
What?
They're basing it on rapport.
Woo!
Did you make rapport with this person?
I
When I
wrote
walked into the party, when I walked into the party and I started asking, how much do you weigh? Is that your real hair? Are those your teeth? Like, am I building rapport? Am I in rapport with people?
No.
No.
And they make an instant decision. Same thing when that salesman calls you. If they're not in rapport, you're making a decision whether you even want to really continue this phone call, whether you're going to hang up. It's rapport. If you can build rapport, ladies and gentlemen, within the first 30 seconds, they will look for reasons to join you. If not, they will look for reasons not to join you. Does everybody here understand what rapport is? Is there anybody here that does not understand? Let's go that way. Okay, good. Because we spoke about this before a number of times, and not just on the Coach's Corner, but on some of the other trainings, you know, that some of the other coaches do as well. So what do you say to your new reps, right, that ask you, well, what do you say word for word to build rapport? Well, if you don't have that answer, glad you're here for this training tonight, because we're going to give you some tips on certain things that you can teach, transferable skills, which is necessary. Because again, remember, it's not about how good you are, it's about how duplicatable you are. And so if we get skills that are transferable and duplicatable, then you can really start to have success that is generating down. And that's going to be the key to your success in the future. So that being said, first principle to learn is a skill called pacing.
What?
Pacing, ladies and gentlemen, Pacing, pacing.
Oh.
Think of a jogger. If you wanted to talk to a jogger, at approximately what pace should you be jogging to talk to them?
The same pace as them.
Same pace as them, right? You can't be going faster. You can't be going slower. You need to be going at that same rhythm, that same pace. We've got to learn to go the same speed that our prospects are in order to communicate effectively. And if a person is jogging along in life, well, what do you mean by that, Sonic? Glad you asked. Like, if some of y'all may relate to this. Like, if they get up, go to work, watch TV, go to bed. Get up, go to work, watch TV, go to bed. They're just jogging along in life. And the reality is, you know, we need to still kind of be at the same speed if we want their attention. You can't go too slow, you can't go too fast, and you can't throw up on them. Right? Most people, and it's not that most people actually go too slow. Most people actually go too fast and they throw up on their prospects. And when you throw up on a prospect, you lost them. So
can you repeat that one more time, boss? I don't think I heard you.
Sure, not a problem. When we're talking about pacing and we're thinking about a jogging or a jogger or something like that, same thing with in business, we need to be on the same wavelength. We need to be able to be at the same pace, the same rhythm as somebody else so that we can be able to speak their language. If we want their attention, we need to be in that same rhythm with somebody, with your prospect, in order for you to connect with them. You can't go too slow. You can't go too fast. And again, most people don't even go too slow. Most people do. They go too fast and they, what we call, throw up on them. They're trying to dump everything on them. That's not necessary, and that's not it's not a positive skill to help you duplicate your business. You want to learn to get in the same rhythm as everybody, the same pace as your prospects. Now I want to shift and I want to talk about beliefs for a second. Now, we can look around we can look on this Zoom call. You can look around your neighborhood. You can look, you know, at your workplace, or whatever the case is. Differences with everybody. We have, even on this call, we've got some Republicans, we've got some Democrats. Now, do you think a Republican can come on? Let's just use this Zoom for a second. And this is not about being political, ladies and gentlemen. I don't believe in going that way, but I want you to understand about beliefs. Do you think a Republican can come on here and change the beliefs of the Democrats to their beliefs?
No.
No.
Could the Democrat come on and change the beliefs of that Republican?
No.
No.
Okay, let's take it away from politics. Let's talk about sports. Coach Seymour, sir, if I was to ask you, what is the best football team out there?
Oh, look at the colors.
Sir.
Look at the colors. Black and yellow. The Steelers. Ain't no question. 6 Super Bowls.
Okay. Now,
but you ain't gonna convince me of that, sir.
All right, you won't. You know what? Let's ask Nakia. Nakia, if I ask you what is the best football team hands down out there, what would you say?
Atlanta Falcons.
And now, listen, hometown Atlanta, them Dirty Birds. I don't know when the last time they won a game, but watch this.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
But let me ask you this. Coach Seymour, will Nakia be able to convince you that the Atlanta Falcons are the best sports team out there?
Maybe if she had Vic on the team still. But otherwise, no.
Well, we know that ain't gonna happen. So now, Nakia, is Seymour gonna be able to convince you that the Steelers are the best team out there?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not, because you have your own beliefs. And when you're going against somebody's different belief systems, are you in the same rhythm? Are you in the same pace? Are you creating an atmosphere to be in rapport?
Absolutely not.
We could talk about shopping.
You can argue it.
Listen, you can argue,
No,
but
we ain't.
that doesn't mean you're going to change their beliefs.
But
Right.
would that be still, that wouldn't be still like consider a rapport because we're talking about it at least. We're discussing it.
We're not in the convincing business here.
No. First of all, arguing, even discussions, if it's opposite belief systems,
Right.
but remember, we're talking about building rapport.
Okay.
We're talking about the key to you really building your business, expanding, and getting people to become a great prospect and everything else. I'm teaching you pacing, and I'm teaching you beliefs, and I'm teaching you to be in rapport with them, right? Even now, let's take something as simple as this. Let's see who else we got. We have who's on here? Gwen. Okay, Gwen. If you were to go shopping for some clothes right now, what store would you want to go to?
Maybe Macy's.
Macy's. Okay. Well, here's the thing. We can look above. Told you this was going to come in handy later. We can look at my background. This is where I like to shop. I'm a coach. I got Coach shirts. I've got Coach sneakers and shoes. I got my Coach bag. I got Coach wallets. And you know what? I got a Coach background. Like, you're not necessarily going to convince me that Macy's is better than Coach.
Well, they sell Coach stuff in there.
Well, they may, but they may sell some other things in there as well. If we're having a discussion on, where's the best quality though, like Nakia says, listen, I'm okay with just maybe going to Walmart and getting me something. I'm like, listen, that's not where I'm going to go shopping. Like, we're not going to be a rapport. Like, you're not going to convince me to do. I want y'all to understand the concepts. Everybody getting the concepts?
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, some of us are, some of us ain't.
Yeah. Now, here's what I want you to understand.
Who's not getting it? Speak up now.
You can go watch the replay 100 times. But here's the thing. I want you to truly understand it's hard to change people's beliefs. Again, the Republicans are not going to be able to really effectively change the Democrats' belief system. Coach Seymour is not going to effectively be able to convince Nakia and her beliefs that the Steelers are that much better than the Atlanta Falcons. So it's hard to change people's beliefs. And most people in network marketing come and assault every one of the prospects' beliefs. Sorry about that. Coming in here with that background noise, Miriam. All right, but that's what most people. Most people in network marketing come and assault their prospects' beliefs way too fast and expect them to change instantly. And listen, we've been in this industry a while. Some of us, I can tell you, I am a huge proponent of what's the 5 favorite words that I teach y'all that y'all got to know. Anybody, please, somebody tell me.
Come on.
Long-term sustainable residual income.
There you go.
If somebody mumbled that, that wasn't even excitable.
Sorry, it was me.
Sustainable residual income.
There you go.
Tell them, man.
So I have, I understand what we call linear income. That's doing work one time and getting paid. That's what most people are used to. We go to work, we get paid, right? And when you don't go to work, You don't get paid. But residual income, when I was sitting in the hospital for over a week and I had to come home and heal and everything else, but I was still getting, thanks to Green Organics, residual income, I'm still getting paid every single day, every single week for work that I did way before. Way more powerful thing. If I try to go against a prospect and their belief, all they know is that linear income, I'm ruining it. I'm breaking them. I'm assaulting their beliefs. This is what they knew. They know go to work and get paid. They don't really know and understand that long-term sustainable residual income and everything else. And so most people in network marketing, we assault every single one of their beliefs. We'll say things like having a boss is stupid. Having a job is stupid. Linear income alone is ridiculous. It's horrible. You're not in rapport.
Nope.
And you're going to lose your people. We're outrunning our slow joggers with speed and info, trying to change their beliefs into ours, and we put them on the defense. Are we in rapport when we do this, ladies and gentlemen?
No, sir. You lose them before you get them.
No.
So what do we need to do? We need to go about the same speed as they're going, with the same beliefs that they have, and stay in rapport. I'm gonna have to mute you, Miriam, because the background noise did not allow every single person to hear me. So I'm gonna say that again. We need to go about the same speed as they are, with the same beliefs that they have, and stay in rapport. All right, so here's the secret sauce. We want to build immediate rapport so that the prospect will believe what we have to say, lean forward, and ask us for a presentation or to join. And we need to do it within 30 seconds. This sounds impossible. But I got a 3-step formula that I want to talk about tonight. All right. So if you're writing this down, I want you to write this down. Gina Wilson, you already know the first thing I'm going to say. And step 1 is fact. F-A-C-T. I want you to write down the word fact. What you want to do is give your prospect an indisputable fact that they totally believe, they will never argue about, and it's within their belief levels. Watch this. Fact. As you're sitting here today, Tommy, if I was talking to you and you were my prospect, and I say, as you are sitting here today, are you sitting down right now, Tommy?
That is a fact. Yes, sir.
Would you believe that if I said that?
Absolutely.
Excellent. So we're going to go on to step number 2. Step number 2 is another fact. Another fact. Give them another fact that they believe within their comfort level. Watch this. As you are sitting here today, you are wondering, how can I build rapport? Is this true, Lori? Are you sitting there today? Are you sitting there now?
Yes.
Is that a fact?
Yes. That's a fact.
Are you sitting here wondering, how can I build rapport with this trip, right? If I say, as you're sitting here today, wondering how can I build rapport, I've given you 2 facts. Step number 3, write this down. BIT, B-I-T. I'm going to give the prospect a small bit of information. Watch this. As you're sitting here today, you're wondering, how can I build rapport? Well, Coach Sonic Jones, I'm going to show you how to build rapport in just 3 easy steps. How many people pretty much accepted that as pretty much true? Anybody?
Yeah.
It's almost a fact.
So the formula, 3 simple steps: fact, bit of information, close enough to a fact, and our minds automatically accept the last thing that is true because of the first 2 facts. Okay, so fact, bit of information. Now, let's talk about this some more. I want you to understand, write this down. When you do the last step, it has to be a small bit of information. If the last bit of information is too much of a stretch, you're going to lose rapport. Okay. If you're talking to somebody that's making $2,000 a month and you tell them they can make $10,000 a month, you're going to lose rapport and build skepticism. You're not in rapport. You're not in the same wavelength. You're not pacing correctly. Okay. Watch this. As you're sitting here today, you're wondering, how can I build rapport? Well, I, Sonic Jones, master of the universe, new ruler of Wakanda, Olympic bodybuilder, I'm going to show you how to build rapport in just 3 easy steps. Did I lose you?
Yep. Yeah. You didn't lose me.
Well, you lost me at Olympic bodybuilding.
Let's go.
Come on with the 3 easy steps, boss.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing. I am not the new ruler of the universe or the master of Wakanda, anything like when I say something and it's too bit of a stretch, I'm gonna lose you. It's not gonna be believable. And again, I need to get into your belief system so that we can be on that same wavelength. I hope y'all are getting this.
Got to be on the same level with that individual.
Gotta be. Let's put it to use in our business, and give you some examples of fact, bit of information, and let's kind of just go into this. And I got to wrap it up. Watch this. The government takes a lot out of our paychecks, and with the little bit that we have left over, they still tax us on beer, gas, and food. But some people have figured out a way to get the most out of that tax money back.
Yep.
Now, the first 2 things I said were absolute facts. The government takes a lot out of our paychecks. Has anybody been taxed by the government before?
Yeah.
So are we already in a belief system? Am I giving you something that you can believe?
Yes.
Yes.
Second thing I said, and with the little bit that we have left over, they're still taxing us on beer, food, and gas. Am I giving you another undisputable fact?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Same belief system. So now I give you just a bit of information, but some people have figured out a way to get the most out of their tax money and get that tax money back. Now, here's the thing. If you were looking for a way to get your tax money back, and I said that 3-step formula to you, I'm in rapport. I'm giving you, and we're on the same belief system. I give you now. If I do that, watch this. The next sentence out of the prospect's mouth is, "How do you get your tax money back?" Now I got them on the edge of the seat. They're basically asking me for a presentation. Did I do it within 30 seconds?
Yes.
Yes.
Are we in rapport? Because I'm on the same pace and gave you the same belief systems.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Part of network marketing is over. I'm just gonna let you know. Now they're looking for the presentation. They're looking for how to get their tax money back. Let's do another one. Let's get some more examples. Watch this. Real estate prices are going up, and our paychecks, they ain't go up nearly as fast as the real estate. But some people have actually figured out a way to get an extra paycheck every single month. Now, if you're looking for a way to get an extra paycheck every single month, the next sentence out your mouth is probably, "How do you do that?" I'm getting the person who want a presentation. They want the information. They're taking what I said, the fact, and a little bit of information. They put everything as absolutely true, and now they're leaning in and wanting more. Let's do this more. We work really, really hard, Rasan, and then we get to retire a year before we die. But Rasan, some people actually figured out a way of retiring 5 years earlier and at full pay. What would be the next sentence out of Rasan's mouth? Like,
How do you do that?
How do you do that? Now I'm looking around. Some of y'all faces I love y'all. We should see the looks on some of your faces. Now let's do some more. We all like to stay home with our kids, but we also want to help the household budget. But some people actually figured out a way of staying home with the kids while still earning a full-time paycheck. If a person wants to know how you did that, next sentence out of their mouth is, "Oh, how do you do that?"
How?
All right. Now, here's the thing. If they're not interested, they're going to say so. They may say, well, how's the weather where you live? Right? Like, listen, and it's okay. But I'm telling you, when you give a person that fact, and bit of information, you're keeping in rapport, you're building on a belief system, and you're making things easier where people are actually now looking for a way to find out, well, how do I do that? All right, let's do some more. You know, cars are really expensive, and car payments, Doug, man, they can be as much as $500, $600, $700 a month. But some people figured out a way of getting other people to make all their car payments for them. Now, if Doug is tired of paying that car note, or Doug want a new car, but you're sitting up here telling them some people figured out a way that other people are paying car notes for them, do I have Doug's attention?
Yes.
Yes.
Doug, are we in rapport?
Yeah.
I didn't say anything outlandish or anything else. Doug is going to ask me for information on, like how do I get my car payments paid? So glad you asked, Doug. Right? All right. This is something I would use in my travel business. You know, we all like to take vacations, but traveling can be so expensive. Some people have actually figured out a way of traveling for free. Now, a person that is looking to travel for free, do I have their attention? Yes.
Yeah.
Are we in rapport? Absolutely. Right? What if you went to the mall and you talked to some of the busy sales clerks, you know, there, and you said something like, you know, like we got a lot of young people working in the malls, Cretia, and we said, you know, Friday nights is a party night, and getting up on Saturday is pretty rough. But some people actually figured out how to get a full-time paycheck and never work weekends again. You say that to a sales clerk that's absolutely sick of working weekends. We have their attention. How are you getting a full-time paycheck and never working weekends again? I would like to know that. You think some sales clerks may want to see a presentation, ladies and gentlemen?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. If you got your pens and papers out, ladies and gentlemen, write this down. Write down, but some people have figured out a way. After that, you'll just put in a benefit. It can be about a product. It can be about service. It can be about the comp plan, any of that stuff. You just got to say, but some people have figured out a way and put in a benefit. If you give a person a fact, and a small bit of information, then you end it with that. If they're interested, they're going to respond in kind. Really? How you do that? Some people have figured a way how to, you know, have other companies pay for their cars every single month and then not have to shell out a dime. What? How? Boom. They're asking for a presentation. Do you now at this point have a good prospect or a bad prospect?
Good.
That's a great prospect.
Are they
Good. You piqued their interest.
Yeah, do you think they want the information now?
Yes.
It's what we said and what we did that made the difference. All right. So now you have to just come up with 2 facts to put before that, and your 3-step system is done. We all work really, really hard, but we can all only earn 1 paycheck at work. But some people figured out a way of getting other people to make money for them. Hit them with a fact, hit them with another fact, and then hit them with a small bit of information. Do me a favor, for those that are participating live, I want you to write down a benefit for your last line. Seriously, take the time to write down a benefit for your last line. But some people have figured out a way of, and write a benefit down. Now, let me give you another one while y'all are writing this down, just to start making you think. Some people have figured out a way of losing weight while making a ton of money in the process. If I'm talking to somebody who's been frustrated and feeling overweight, wanting to figure out something, and you say that to them, you think they may be leaning in and asking for, how do you do that? All right. I'm a rapid fire some more for y'all. Y'all let me know if you like any of these, or if you want to write any of these down, feel free. Watch this. Here's some general lines that you can use. But some people have figured out a way of firing their boss and starting their own business. But some people have figured out a way of getting an extra paycheck every single month. But some people have figured out a way of retiring 5 years early with full pay. Some people have figured out a way of working 3 weeks out of the month, but getting paid for 4. Some people have figured out a way of getting an extra $2,000 to $4,000 tax refund every single year. Some people have figured out a way of making more money part-time than their boss does full-time. Now, here's the thing. These are general lines you can use. You can always feel free to make up your own. But your objective is just to get people to say, what the heck, I want some more information. When you're doing that, you're staying in the, again, because people are believing you. You've given them a fact, and you give them a small bit of information saying, but some people have figured out a way. And now people are automatically going to want to know, what's the way? Now, when we do this, when we say things like this, when we're going through this process, we're talking to people, and we're using a very simple 3-step formula, people feel usually more relaxed. They don't feel pressured. They don't feel like you're trying to sell them something. They normally feel in rapport with you. Would you agree? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Totally agree.
Do you think, let's ask, do you think they may be interested, feel interested? Yeah, right?
Yes.
You think you're in rapport? Yeah.
Yes.
You think they may be looking for reasons to buy or join your business? Yeah,
Yeah.
you're saying out the right thing.
Yeah.
You think they may be ready for more? Yeah, or ready to find out more, right? So I want you to understand this is not meant for icebreakers. Icebreakers is a totally different skill. When we're breaking the ice and everything else, this is how to get people to actually want a presentation from you.
Okay.
This is how to get people to want the presentation from you. And if you can master this skill, the truth is you're going to have a total unfair advantage over every other networker in the world. Every other networker in the world. Did anybody write down a benefit that we asked? Anybody do that?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Spot check. Look at the screenshot. Where's the note? Just saying.
Oh, well,
Sorry, boss.
I
Sorry.
said, hey, listen, anybody want to share? Would anybody like to share?
Sure.
I can.
I would like to share.
Please, Tiara, go ahead.
But some people have figured out a way of getting a paycheck every day without getting a second job.
Hey.
Hey, listen, I know I want to learn how to get a paycheck every day. and if you're talking to me and that's my situation, I'm going to ask you how you do that. I'm asking you for the presentation. You instantly turned a neutral prospect into a good prospect because I'm asking you for that. How do you get a paycheck every day? Show me. That was really good. Thank you, Tiara. Gwen, you said
that was a good one.
Yeah.
Gwen, you wanted to share, you said?
No, I'm still writing something.
Okay. All right.
I want to share, Coach.
Okay, go ahead, Gina.
I'm going to give you all 3 steps here. A lot of us pay bills every month. And there is very little money left after we pay the bills. Some people have figured out a way to have extra money every month.
Okay. Okay. Good stuff, Gina. Gina gave the whole thing. Makia, was that you that said you wanted to share?
Sure. And I put
Okay.
it in the chat, but it's my true story. Some
Uh-oh.
people have figured out a way to put their kids through college without student loans and graduate debt free.
Say that one more time. Oh, you
Some
just
people
got you.
have
Okay.
figured out a way to put their kids through college without student loans and graduate debt free.
That was good. That was good. Yeah, I was thrown off because Gina did the whole thing. So I'm listening. I'm like, did you do the whole thing? I couldn't. So okay, but that was exactly what I asked for. That was really good. Yeah, listen, I definitely would like to know how to get my kid through college, graduates debt free. That's good. Lucretia, you got a hand up? You want to give a benefit?
Yes, I had thought of some people have figured out how to work a job, but never again work weekends.
Okay, good stuff. And so, guys, I want you to understand if you're Alexa, stop. Sorry about that. If you develop this skill set, well, first of all, let me ask you this: how many people think this may be a good skill to have?
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
And I want you to understand, because I see some new people on here. Hey, Dr. Lorena. Okay, right. So here's the thing: when we get somebody new that signs up with us, like nobody signs up with these network marketing skills. But let me ask you this: would you rather partner with someone who has a great skill set or somebody who doesn't?
Great skills.
Somebody who does.
Yeah, exactly. And so by you having a skill set, because when I just asked how many people think this is a good skill set to have, and you said yes, me. If you now have these great skill sets that you personally possess, do you think you would make yourself more attractive as well?
Yes,
Yes.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yes.
You walking with a different posture.
Absolutely.
Ooh,
Absolutely.
yes.
Now, on the flip side of that, wouldn't it be great if you can just teach your new people what they can now say word for word and set them up for success right away?
Yes,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
absolutely.
Yes.
All right, let me give you some tips to about this particular skill. And like I said, we're going to do part 2 next week. We're getting ready to close out just because of the timing. All right, so guys, here's some tips and techniques that's going to make fact, small bit of information skill even better. All right, tip number 1: always make sure that it's third party. So you always want to say, well, some people or other people, because if you say I, you're going to set off what we call a salesman alarm.
Yep.
Okay. So always make sure that third part is third party. All right. And by the way, once you set off the salesman alarms, you're going to be out of rapport. It's not the skill that I'm trying to teach you. I'm trying to teach you to be in rapport. Okay. So don't say I. That's tip number 1. Tip number 2: try to avoid network marketing words. So don't say things like upline, downline,
Sign up.
sponsor, residual income, 6-figure income, etc. Okay, those are going to set off the salesman alarm. All right, so avoid network marketing words. Watch this. Do not use big words. Use small words. Don't try to make yourself sound super sophisticated and I'm ridiculously polished. Listen, you don't say income disadvantaged individuals. No, you just say poor people. Okay, just like keep it simple.
Keep it simple.
Please don't try to use big words. And the last tip: try to avoid questions. Questions put people on the defense and again, set off the salesman alarms. And people, they're going to feel like when they start to feel cornered on the defense, you lose them. You're not in rapport.
Yep.
So don't ask people questions. Just give them a fact a fact, and a small bit of information. Speaking of that, here's tip number 5. Small bit of information.
Yeah.
Number 1, small bit, not bits. Okay? And that's BITCS for those that may be watching, and you know my New York accent may have sounded wrong. I said bits. BITCS. All right. But watch this. More than one bit of information is going to set off the salesman alarm. For example, we're not getting any younger, and we all need to wake up feeling better in the morning. But some people have figured out a way of waking up earlier, feeling like $1 million, falling asleep within 7 minutes of their head hitting the pillow while building their immune system and increasing their lifestyle.
Too much. Too much.
Yeah.
That's way too much.
Ladies and gentlemen, fact, small bit. So somebody just wrote small bits. Who is that? That was Tommy. Nope, not bits with an S. Small bits of information. All right. And I'll only say, so we said 2 things. We said small bits, not bits, and make sure that you only say 1 bit of information, right? So when they ask for a presentation, don't go blah and throw up on them. Okay?
Yeah.
Don't do that. Fact, small bit of information. And now here's the thing. I want you to really be able to go back and apply these rules. So if you took the time while we were when I asked you to actually write some things down, if you were coachable enough and you did that, take these suggestions, these tips that I just said, those 5 tips, and apply those rules and make your stuff shorter. Now, here's the thing. This was the first skill that I wanted to teach y'all about manipulating minds and controlling other people. And if you just use this one skill, you can actually get tons of people now asking you for presentations all day long. Because this is what it actually is. It's a skill set. And you can, man, you got the ability to literally create unlimited prospects all day long, having them lean forward for information anytime you want to. It's almost like a superpower. I'm going to tell you, as good as skill number 1 is, skill number 2 is even better. And we're going to learn skill number 2 on next week's edition of the Coach's Corner. So, any questions really quick about this particular skill before we close out the recording? No. All right, good. That means I did a good enough job, hopefully, or y'all weren't paying any attention, but I don't think it's number 2. So with that being said, if you're watching the recording, take the information, write out a few examples. Going back to the recording, you can actually go back and maybe write down, because I gave you, maybe about 10 different scenarios. As you saw, it's not a hard skill to learn. You have some people, Tiara and Lucretia and Nakia, they were taking the information and they were writing that stuff down. Gina wrote down all 3, right? This is a very duplicatable skill set. And if you learn this, it is my true belief that you will begin to really master the skill set of prospecting, because this is intended to keep people in rapport, work within their belief system, and get people interested in leaning forward and asking you for more information. And that's really the hardest part of network marketing. And so, like I said, once you master this part, the rest is cakewalk. It's very, very simple. So I appreciate those that are joining us on the recording. If you happen to watch this before July 16th, make sure you're on our live recording, ladies and gentlemen. And if you're watching this recording, if you stumbled upon it and you would like more information or want to learn how to get on the live recording, leave a comment. We'll show you how to get on our live presentations. But that being said, I want to thank everybody for watching this. Hopefully you learned something that can change your business, and we appreciate you. And we will see you on the next edition of the Coach's Corner. God bless you watching this, and take care. Have a great evening.